thanks for tuning into my channel. Today I'm going to show you how I do my digital adjustments for PDF patterns in Corel Draw. I'm going to do a broad shoulder adjustment and a lengthening adjustment, as well as show you right at the very end I'll do the mirroring, but if your PDF pattern doesn't have those yet. Let's get started.
Okay, so I'm going to be doing my alterations on the buttons and blueprints elemental T. And I'm going to go up here and get a new page. I'm going to name it elemental T adjusted. I'm going to make sure my screen or my page is big enough, but not too big. Adobe, I think, has a maximum of around 190 or 200 inches. So I'm just going to go ahead and leave it at those settings. I'm going to go OK. So here I've got my page. I'm going to import my pattern. I've actually already stitched this one. That's why I have stitched at the end here. So I've got my elemental T. I'm just going to open this one. I like to run it through the PDF stitcher first. That's this one here. Because then I can already turn off all the other layers and get the basic shape or layers that I need. Here we got, it's all grouped together. So I'm going to, first of all, I'm going to go ungroup. Sorry, it's in German, but then we have here, this is also together. And now I'm going to have to go here and edit my master, because sometimes it does that, sometimes it doesn't. I don't know why. So I'm going to select all of it. I'm going to go copy and done. And then I'm going to paste it here. And now I have the individual pieces that I need, so I can go ahead and delete that. This one I'm also going to go down here. I'm going to say edit master, select it all, and copy. Then I'm going to go done and paste. So I'm going to delete this one too. I'm going to select everything again, just move it up to the center. And now you can see Buttons and Blueprints offers full bust options for the FBA fronts for all of their patterns, actually. We're going to just go ahead and delete that because I don't need that piece. I'm going to move this a bit closer. And then we can do our adjustments. So I'm going to be doing the broad shoulder adjustment. I need a 1/2 inch there. And I'm going to be doing a length adjustment of 1 inch as well. So to start, this pattern has the whole front piece as one piece, which is great. Some patterns don't have it already as one piece, like sometimes it gets imported in separate pieces. And in that case, you're just going to want to select the pieces that you need, like with the select tool, and then you can go ahead and merge them together or weld them together. But this one has it all together, so I'm going to go ahead and go here. To the left here, there's it might not show you the contour tool right away because there are a few different ones under this button. So if you click on the little arrow here, you can then click on the contour, and then you're in contour mode. You need to have that selected. So I'm going to go ahead and change. What I want to do is mark my seam allowance, because we need to do this with the seam allowance. I'm going to go 0.375 because the seam allowance on this pattern is 3/8 inch. And then I'm going to go ahead and click here. And now I've got the seam allowance at 3/4 inch, not 3/4, 3/8 inch in from the outer line. Then over here, I'm going to go right click, and I have to Kombination aufheben is basically, yeah, to make them not be as one piece. Forget how to say that. And then I'm going to go ahead and select my select tool again and just select the inner one. I'm going to make it green as well, and I am going to make it dotted so that I can keep track of what is what. So now I've got my seam allowance marked. For a broad shoulder or a narrow shoulder adjustment, what we've got to do is mark a line from the middle point of the shoulder, and Corel Draw gives me that middle point already. or it lets me know where it is, and then about 1/3 of the way down the arm size. So I'm going to eyeball it about here and click. So there I've got my first mark. What I'm going to do is I need another line that goes at a 90-degree angle from this one. So I'm just going to make it L shape. I click once with the tool, and if I press shift, it gives me a straight line. So I'm going to just go ahead and click there. And here you can see there's a little arrow under my pointer. So I'm just going to click again because that'll make this into one piece. I've still got shift so that I have a straight line. And then I'm going to get my select tool again. Grab it in the corner because it has like the little knots. Oh, that's right, you have to have the snap to objects on. So I'm going to grab the knot and just run it along this line here. I'm just going to put it here. It doesn't matter where at this point, but I'm going to click again, and then I have my pivot tool. So I'm going to move the pivot point to that knot so that I can just go ahead. I'm going to zoom in a little bit here and pull this down to line up with that line. So now I know I have a 90-degree angle here, more or less. I'm going to do that a little bit more exact since I can. There we go. And then I can go back to, if I click on it again, then it's back to the moving tool. So I'm just going to slide it up so that this piece here intersects with the seam allowance. I'm going to zoom in a bit because then I can have a bit of a more fine-tuned adjustment. So now I've got my pieces marked, and I will now deselect my tools here, and I'm going to click on the draw again. I'm going to take a different color. I'm going to use red. If I right click with my mouse, it gives me the contour in red, and I'm going to give it a 4-point line again. So now I have the knot here. I have still the click to objects here. So here there's a little knot where these two intersect. I'm going to click here and click again, and then it gives me my line. Then I'm going to make sure that I have that little arrow at the bottom of my pointer because that means it's going to connect those two. Click again and over here, and then I'm going to close that. There we go. I'm going to select off to the side now, and I'm going to do one more. So I'm going to select the tool again, get a different color again, and do the same thing for this piece. There we go. And since this isn't curved here, I'm going to go back to my select tool. Sorry, no, I'm going to do I'm not sure what this is called, the forming object, I guess. And then I'm going to select all of these points and turn this into a curved line. Now I have all of the points selected still, so I'm just going to click to the side to deselect them. See, now they're white in the middle. And then I can just click and drag this line in a bit. So now it has that curve there too. So now we have the pieces that we need. We can actually delete that because we don't need that anymore. And we need to draw one more line, which will just be the measurement that we need to get. So I'm going to draw a little line here. I got my shift key down to keep it straight. I'm going to change it to another different color, and I'm going to make it exactly 0.5 inches because that is the length, the amount that I need it changed. So I'm going to pick it up here at the knot again and bring it on over here, which is where I'm going to measure from because I need to have this distance here lengthened or widened. So then I'm going to click on it again. So I have my little pivot tool. I'm going to move it over to there to pivot there, and I'm going to pull this down there. So now I'm going to select this triangle and the pink one. So I'm going to press shift and click, and then I have these two selected. And I click here again to get my turning tool, move the pivot point down to here, and go ahead and just pivot that one up. What I also need to do is pivot this one back down. So I'm going to get this selected to turn again, move the pivot point, and bring it down. So I'm quite a bit too far away. I'm going to go and select these two again. And whoops, Control Z. Forgot to turn on the turning tool. And still a bit far out, so I'm just going to put it a little further in. We've already got the point there, and here we go. So now I have it where I need it to be. I've got my 1/2 inch extended there, and this is still where the seam is though, so we're going to have to add that seam allowance back in. I'm going to take away this line, and I'm going to delete this line as well. I don't need it anymore, and I actually don't need the seam allowance line anymore either, so I'm going to delete that as well. Now I need to add the contour again on the outside, so I'm going to go over here with my contour tool again, and I've still got 0.375, that's the 3/8 inch, and I'm going to add it on the outside this time. I'm going to release these two from one another again, and I'm going to change that black into red so that I know which one I'm talking about here. And I'm going to do the same for the pink one. Contour on the outside and change, release, undo the whatever it is they have. And there's the pink one. So, and then I'm going to, I don't need these middle ones anymore now. So I'm going to take those away. And now I have here along these lines is my new shoulder seam. So I'm going to select this now, and then I'm going to go on the point select, and I can move this out to my new armscye. I'm going to delete a couple of these points because I think they don't necessarily need to be that many. I'm going to turn these 2 points into a curve again so that I can move this along the line there. There we go. I still feel like it's not a very smooth transition here, so I'm just going to move this out a bit so that we have a bit of a smoother transition from my adjustment into the armscye. So, and now I can delete these two again. And there we have it, my 1/2 inch adjustment, wide shoulder, broad shoulder adjustment. So we've done the back, now we need to do the front as well. I'll click on over here. And here again, I have the curve is already nice. It's got the whole, you can see it a little bit over here. It's selected my whole thing, so that's handy for me. So I can just go ahead and click here. It's kept the distance that I need. I'm going to add that seam allowance in. Ungroup these two. Get my select again. I'm going to give that a bit of a green. Whoops, I used the wrong mouse button. There we go. And I'm going to make it a dashed line again. So, and now I've got that, so I'm going to go ahead and get my middle point here and my roughly 1/3 of the way here. And I'm going to do my L-shaped piece again. Bring that on over here. Get the pivot point over, line those up, and get my select again, and move it up that way. So now I've got my rectangles that I need. I'm going to trace those now. So I still have purple, so I'm going to go with red here. So with the right mouse click, I can change that. I'm going to draw my rectangles. Oops, I'm going to do Control Z to undo that one. That wasn't very nice. And there's the one. Move the selection to the side. I'm going to grab, I'll do light blue for this one. And get these. There we go. And now, of course, I need to turn this back into a curved line. I'm going to select all of these little points, turn it into a curve, click to the side to deselect them again, and there we go. Back to my my select tool. Now again, I can delete that because I don't need it anymore. I am going to get my 1/2 inch and bring it on over to where I need it over here and get my pivot point, oops, and move that down. And now it's basically the same thing again. I'm going to select these two with the shift. I'm going to get my pivot point down to the bottom, move that out, and just select my red one, pivot point down that way, move it down, and once again I am too far, so I'm going to go ahead and move them back in a bit. And this one up again, zoom in a bit. There we go. So then I have these two. I don't need this anymore, or this one, because I have my new shoulder here. I'm going to add my contour to the outside again, on there, and on there. And then I'm going to remove that grouping here and here. I can delete these guys. And now I have my contour here again that I'm going to need. So I can go ahead and select my individual points and go ahead and try and make this a nice smooth line into my new arm side. Do that there. And then I can delete these. And there I have it, my 1/2 inch broad shoulder adjustment. Now, you can adjust the sleeve as well, especially if your broad shoulder adjustment or narrow shoulder adjustment is more than 3/4 inches. You're going to want to adjust the sleeve too. For a 1/2 inch, doesn't necessarily need to be, but I'm going to show you how to do it anyways. So since I did a broad shoulder adjustment, I moved my shoulder piece on my bodice out, which means my sleeve piece will need to be slightly lower. So I am going to draw, a line across here. I am going to get my 1/2 inch line here again, 0.5. Select tool over to the middle. And here I'm going to turn this into a select all curved line again. And now I'm going to pull this up. And there I have my new shoulder. What I'm going to do maybe is I'm going to add a dot here by double clicking. And then I'm going to pull this a little bit to get that shape a little bit more true to the original shape. There we go. And now I can take this marker, because I'm going to want to keep that. I'm going to do it on this knot, and again I'm going to pull it down holding my shift key so it pulls it straight down, and there it is. Now I'm going to have to get this part away, so I'm going to use this tool. It could be that you have to get it out of the little menu. It would be the delete the virtual segment, and I'm just going to be able to delete that there. Now I'm going to go ahead and, I'm going to be turning all of these colors to black afterwards anyway, so I'm just going to make that one black already. There we go. So we've done the broad shoulders on both bodice pieces and the sleeve, and that's how we do that. And then we're going to go to the lengthen the waist. So I need 1 inch added in the length all the time. With buttons and blueprints, you always get this neat little mini picture that tells you what all of the lines mean. So the waist grade line is here. And what I'm going to do is grab my rectangle box, and I'm going to draw it a bit wider than what the bodice is. I'm going to select it again and move it onto that spot. What I'm going to do as well is make it 1 inch tall. There we go. Oh, and now we need to separate these two, the top and the bottom, so that I can just pull the bottom piece down to meet this rectangle. In order to do that, I'm going to move this to the side again for a moment, and I'm going to draw a line, a straight line using Shift, which is also wider than the bodice. And now I'm going to erase this virtual segment. I'm going to go to my Select tool, and I'm going to select this bottom piece, and I'm going to go copy or Control C, and then I'm going to do an undo, so I have that top piece back. So now it's all one piece again, but since I copied this bottom piece, I can erase this bottom piece again, grab that tool, delete that segment, and then I can go back to my Select tool and do Paste, and now I have two separate pieces. Control Z goes back. So now I can actually remove this line again, but I'm going to need it for this side too when I do this side, so I'm just going to move it over there. I'm going to select this one, snap it to this object here, and now I can select this part. Oh, I didn't get everything. There we go. And now I can grab it at this knot again, and I can either push Shift and move it down, or I can just slide it down to the bottom here where this the end of this box is, and I'm going to click it to this knot again too. So now I've moved it straight down, and now I have 1 inch more here. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to get rid of this box. I'm actually going to move it over here because I'm going to need it for the front bodice as well. And I'm going to extend these lines. I'm going to do that with my Select tool, and I'm going to pull it down, and here as well, just pull that down, and I have lengthened the bodice. It's that simple. I'm going to do the other one. That's going to move out of the way for a moment. I'm going to erase this and select this, copy, undo, delete this, back to my Select tool, and paste. There we go. And then I'm going to group this already so I don't have to select it all manually. Now I can remove this one again, select this box here, snap it to the waist grade line, and I'm going to select my bottom piece and move it down. I don't need this anymore, but I do need to extend these lines, so I'm going to do that. There we go. And I've got my length adjusted. So it's that simple. I've added 1 inch to the waist, and I've done my broad shoulder adjustment, and that really takes less than 20 minutes when I'm not explaining it at the same time. So it's super quick and easy to do. I would say almost faster than on paper, but yeah, now I can just go ahead and project it. Actually, we'll show you how I mirror as well while we're here. I'm going to select that whole bodice. I'm going to group it, which is Control G, or you can select with right click, you can group. And then I'm going to copy, and I'm going to deselect there and do paste. I have two on top of each other, and here I have a little mirrored thing, so I can just mirror that again. Grab this bottom corner and click it to that corner, and there we go. I have a mirrored bodice. If the mirrored text bothers you, you can erase that out with your segment delete tool. I'm going to do the same here. Move that over so that it's not in the way. I'm going to go group and copy and paste, flip, and click it over this way, and there we go. Now I have my front and my back piece mirrored, ready to cut out. I usually, when I have different necklines, I'll select those already as well. And what I like to do when I have altered a pattern, I always add a note to what I have done. So I did a 0.5 inch broad shoulder adjustment, and it's super tiny. I'm going to go with a bit bigger so that I can see it when I'm zoomed out as well. Double click to get back into the text box, and 1 inch length added, because I will often not remember what I have done, what kind of adjustments. And there you have it. If you want, you could actually, if you don't have that with the pattern already, you could also do I'm going to group here again and copy and paste, mirror, and move over. And then with my shift key, I can keep them at the exact same level. And then I have mirrored sleeves already as well. And there is the broad shoulder adjustment and the length adjustment and the mirroring process in Corel Draw.
Thanks for watching. I hope it helped. Please make sure to like and subscribe if you like my video, and check out the other tutorials that I have. And I hope to see you again soon. Bye-bye.